my work to read. So I never ventured into politics like that. When I finished campus and joined the teaching fraternity, that is the first time I realized I can do this. Actually, they always say, if you assume you can't do it, you'll never do it. So when I started vying, that time I was in Kilifi. I was teaching in a small school called Sokokobo in Ganze, Asal area. So that time when I started vying, my colleagues from campus were telling me, Nancy, you've never known you're a politician. And I told them, okay, this is my new path. So I'm venturing into politics and into ensuring that the women get a place on the table. Yeah. So that is the time I started. That was in 2016. I vied in Kupet, way back in Kilifi, and I won the seat as the General Secretary. So within that period of time, I served for 5 years, and I was vying again in 2021 and for a higher position as the Assistant Executive Secretary in Kilifi. But at that time, there were so many forces that were behind it, and unfortunately, I was transferred against my will. Okay. These things that you hear, punitive transfers, yeah, I faced it. So I was transferred against my will, and I was given a letter to Turkana. So I refused to go. I went to TSC offices and to Kupet offices to seek help. Finally, I landed in Kakamega and stayed there for 6 months. I told them I don't want to be here. But I worked for the 6 months I was there, and then I applied for my transfer, followed it up, and I landed in Kisumu. When I landed in Kisumu, this is a whole new place. I had never been here, so I knew no one. I had no godfather. I had no one on my side. Okay. I stayed here for 1 year, reading the ground, supporting teachers, working in the activities, getting to know how Kisumu looks like. Yeah. So in 2023, that was 2022 when I landed here. 2023, I started working with other leaders in the teaching fraternity. And there are people who held my hand at that time. And they told me, Nancy, this is where you start from. Start attending these functions, and you'll get to meet the teachers, interact with them. Actually, for politics, I realized that it's about knowing people, having a personal relationship with them, creating your own influence and creating your own brand. Yeah, so I worked so hard to create that brand, to create my influence, to get in touch with the people on the ground or the teachers, and that is what propelled me. In 2024, I still continued with my little campaigns. 2025, the campaigns had picked up, so I joined into a team that comprised of 14 aspirants. Yeah, so I was part of that team. We had to get to an agreement of who takes which position. And that is how I landed at First Gender. However, I wanted to be the gender secretary. Okay. All that time I was vying as the gender secretary. But because it's give and take, and at one point you have to support each other within the team. Yeah, I decided to go for the first assistant gender and work with the gender team to ensure that Kisumu teachers get the services that they deserve in the gender docket. Yeah.
All right. In Kenya, when we come across the word the gender, our minds always run across women empowerment.
Yeah.
Please, may you break it down so that we can understand it deeply, so that because anywhere, if you are in a market, if you had someone talking about gender, your mind goes directly to women.
Yeah.
So please, can you elaborate it deeply so that we know what are you fighting for in Obao?
Exactly. I understand that gender in the mindset of many means women, but in the mindset of a leader, it means both gender, male and female. But most of the time, the society directs gender issues to female people or female colleagues because they're the most vulnerable. They have a few of them on the table to represent them. And that's why when we get to leadership positions, we have slots for nominees. We find that women are always nominated to add the number so that we have more women on the table as equated to the men to achieve the two-third gender. Yeah, the women issues can best be spoken by fellow women, and that is why the gender docket has to be there. As the gender secretaries advocate for the female, they also cover the male. But because the ladies don't have higher position or the several positions that are handled or owned by men, we get to have the gender docket selected for ladies, so that the women also have people who are there to defend them. Yeah.
Now, how do you represent women in Obao? How do you represent them? Because there is an activity that perhaps when you do really resembles your representation. How do you represent women in your capacity?
In my capacity, I work hand in hand with the gender secretary to ensure that the women, their issues are voiced out. We have gender-based violence cases, and in Kisumu County we experienced several. Actually, we had 2 ladies in 2023 from Nyakach sub-county who succumbed through gender-based violence.
Was the lady a teacher?
Yeah, they are teachers.
Okay, so it means you voice the voices of women, ladies within the teaching
fraternity.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
They're the ones to give us the power to represent them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these women continue that succumbed in Nyakach?
Yeah, through gender-based violence. So if these cases would have been addressed earlier or on point, I believe we wouldn't have had the loss of a life. So gender-based violence cases are so many. Some of them are go unnoticed. And we have nowadays, actually, I will say, after getting into the position of first gender, I realized the male are also going through it in a way. They're also harassed within their institutions or homes in a manner that they cannot talk about it unless they get someone who is confidential enough, someone who can listen, someone who can offer advice. Yeah. So the gender-based violence cases are so many, and most of the time we agree that they affect the women. Yeah, and that is the one area we work so hard on to ensure that we are not going to lose a life.
If gender-based violence can be handled once and for all, your responsibility ends there?
No, we have so much to deal with. With the gender docket, we also represent women in various cadres. You know, in the working environment, women are sometimes harassed. Their positions are sometimes taken. They are looked at as a lesser human compared to the men. So we give them the power. When they are harassed, we give them the power to speak. We are there to represent them. And last year, in 2025, several female colleagues were transferred against their will. And I looked at the data and I realized so many of them were ladies and not men. Remember, the ladies are the ones who remain with our families at home. You are meant to. We always leave them with the children. Imagine if your wife is transferred to somewhere so far and the children are in school and some children are young, your family is unstable. So the women are the fabric of the society. And that is why we really stand up for them. When these transfers come and they are unfair and they're biased, we have to defend them to ensure that they are placed in schools where they can serve best and be with their families. Yeah.
Okay, you talked of there are some cases that maybe remain unresolved or unreported. What has Obao been doing about this? Because we find that there are some women or men passing through all these frustrations in their working places, maybe the working places for enough. Is there any law or any strategy that Obao has come up with to address such issues?
Yeah, we have come up with a toll number that they can call. Yeah, we are coming up with it. Okay, it's not already in place, but our office discussed this the last time we had a meeting because we've just been in office from February, so we are putting things in place. Yeah, so they can call this number and raise the concerns before it's too late. Yeah, some of them will be afraid to call us because we are their colleagues, so they can call this number. We also have a counselor. We are putting a counselor in place who can address these issues, a professional counselor. Yeah, when it's rolled out, colleagues will be cancelled in private, so that the issues are privately handled and not spilling over to the public. Yeah.
Yeah, COPET is basically a lobby group, right?
It's a union.
Yeah, it's a union. Anytime elections are called, you'll find out there are people standing for their candidate against the other. Being that you took over that position, how do you differentiate your leadership from politics? Because sometimes you find out that those people never elected or voted for you. Sometimes it's always very hard for you to offer them service.
Yeah.
Now, at work, when do you differentiate politics from leadership as a woman in that office?
But politics, it's about creating collaborations, getting the influence. You focus on winning. Yes, but when you step to the leadership position, the role changes. And now this is the time for mentorship. This is the time for creating objective solutions that favor everyone. This is the time not to listen to the loudest voice that criticizes you because of the decision you made that was unpopular, but taking up for that position, owning it, for that decision, owning the decision, and ensuring that the decision serves the interest of the majority, not the few. So leadership gives me a different view of handling issues. Actually, I realized the people who didn't support me, my strongest supporter is my best friend right now. Yeah.
But your best friend that supported you is your enemy?
No, my best friend that supported me are still my friends. Yeah, they're still my friends. So when you get to the leadership position, you serve everyone. It's service to the teachers. It's not about the influence. It's not about listening to the loudest voice. It's not about creating a name. It's now about serving, delivering the services, getting the teachers to get satisfied with why they placed you there. Yeah.
And something, before I let Asuna to really ask a question, there is always this belief that women loves when men serves them, unlike their fellow women. How do you find this working with you? Because it is a notion that if you go even to the supermarket, if a lady finds a fellow lady, there is that emotional reaction that if she finds a male, there is that kind of a cool environment. Now, being that you are a female and yet females are in this fraternity of teaching, particularly in COPET, how do you really leverage the emotional aspect of you and the fellow women? Because kuna ile notion ya kwamba sisikii kama wewe unaweza msava. I don't there's that notion. How do you really handle that?
Okay, most of the time, women fall prey to being the loyal one to the male. And that is why sometimes they feel protected by the male and they feel what you're saying, safe being with the male. But when you are a woman in leadership, it's not about being loyal. It's about having a place on the table. It's about voicing out for fellow colleagues or female. And that is why I support she. And that is why I stand up for the ladies in the teaching fraternity. And in the gender docket, I support my gender secretary closely because it is women power that will give us the chance to speak out for ourselves. Yeah. And basically in the teaching fraternity, the lady teachers, they support us. They support us and they give us advice when we go wrong. Actually, most of them can quarrel me when I say unpopular decisions, but in a good way, in a way that corrects you and builds you. And that is what I cherish. You now pick from advice that builds you, advice that builds service to the teacher, than criticism. You rise about criticism that is baseless, and you focus on criticism that is fruitful. Yeah.
Okay, we've seen most of the union leaders are getting into politics now. How do you separate COPET as a union and politics?
National politics.
National politics, that is.
Okay.
Because in most cases,
yeah,
your leaders always
venture into that part.
Politics.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a say in national politics because teachers are voters, they're citizens, they have to decide and shape the country's future, and we cannot be overlooked. In the national politics. We are part of it. But union politics is different because in union politics we focus on the teacher, we focus in that area that we serve. And in CUPET we focus on the post-primary teachers. Are their services delivered? You know, the teachers have so many issues they go through actually. I believe right now if I tell you to quit this job and go to teaching, you'll think twice about it. Yeah, because we have to fight for salary increment all the time. Right now, NEC has not paid examiners who marked last year exams, and the students are joining universities. Some of them have already joined colleges. So it's quite unfair to the teaching fraternity. And that's why we have a union that can voice out issues for the teachers within the teaching fraternity for us to have a stronger base. But in national politics, we are part of it. We have to be part of shaping our future because this same future is the one that determines the kind of salary we get, is the one that brings onto board the kind of deductions we receive, and therefore we have to be part of deciding who is on the helm of Kenya's leadership.
So tomorrow when I see you supporting Team A or Team B, so that is the voice of CUPET as a union, not your personal voice?
No, no. As Nancy, I will have my personal voice. But when I wear the garment of the union like this one, so I'll have a different say because at that time, it's not about me, it's about what matters to the people. Yes, and I believe we will not be quick to support any candidate until we're sure that this is where we will get the best for our teachers.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, being that, the position that you took, it is a political based because elections are involved.
Yeah.
And was it peaceful? Because that's the question.
Yeah, okay. I'll answer this with a different dynamic. Because there were no deaths, so it was peaceful. In Kenya, we are used to mandamano and demonstrations all the time. So there are no demonstrations.
Okay. But there was that stiff opposition.
The stiff opposition must be there in any political field.
Now, as a woman, how do you find yourself in such an environment where there is that environment of softness? What kind of...
Be in gi lek mar bedo jafuambo, jalendo e wang' jowi, kata jalony e weche mag mbui. Riwri kod kar tiegruok mar Cityscope mondo iyud lony e chano chenro mag wang' jowi, fuambo kod puodho weche manyien moyiedhi. Yud puonj kowuok kuom jolony magwa mondo ibed gi ng'eyo mang'eny e weche mag fuambo. Ndikri kaka achiel kuom jopuonjre mondo mi ichak wuodhi mar bedo jafuambo. Mondo ing'e mathoth, ywanwa tol kokalo e namba 07 26 32 4028 kata tudri kodwa email marwa mycityscopetv@gmail.com kata www.cityscopemediacenter.co.ke. Cityscope Training College. Think, believe, achieve. Be in gi lek mar bedo jafuambo, jalendo e wang' jowi, kata jalony e weche mag mbui? Riwri kod kar tiegruok mar Cityscope mondo iyud lony e chano chenro mag wang' jowi, fuambo kod puodho weche manyien moyiedhi. Yud puonj kowuok kuom jolony magwa mondo ibed gi ng'eyo mang'eny e weche mag fuambo. Ndikri kaka achiel kuom jopuonjre mondo mi ichak wuodhi mar bedo jafuambo. Mondo ing'e mathoth, ywanwa tol kokalo e namba 0726324028 kata tudri kodwa email marwa mycityscopetv@gmail.com kata www.cityscopemediacenter.co.ke. Cityscope Training College. Think, believe, achieve. Be in gi lek mar bedo jafuambo, jalendo e wang' jowi, kata jalony e weche mag mbui? Riwri kod kar tiegruok mar Cityscope mondo iyud lony e chano chenro mag wang' jowi, fuambo kod puodho weche manyien moyiedhi. Yud puonj kowuok kuom jolony magwa mondo ibed gi ng'eyo mang'eny e weche mag fuambo. Ndikri kaka achiel kuom jopuonjre mondo mi ichak wuodhi mar bedo jafuambo. Mondo ing'e mathoth, ywanwa tol kokalo e namba 0726324028 kata tudri kodwa email marwa mycityscopetv@gmail.com kata www.cityscopemediacenter.co.ke. Cityscope Training College. Think, believe.
Welcome back again. Thank you so much for keeping locked at Cityscope TV. If you have any questions, perhaps to our guest, you can use the numbers on the screen. SMS 24510, or you can call us live.